All right, let's fire it up. I am Kyle Johnston. You can find my work on Twitter at KJ_the block. Find my work on my blog site, KyleJohnstonTheBlock.wordpress.com. We almost pulled it off last night in the home run derby with Todd Frazier. But Giancarlo Stanton was an absolute monster last night. An absolute monster. What a freak of nature. He is like a LeBron James. His physicality of the sport. The guy is just a monster out there. Unfortunately, I was riding Robinson Cano, and 24 home runs later in the first round, I was like, well, Robbie Cano, enjoy the time with your father on the mound and in the batter's box, because you ain't hitting fucking 25 home runs. So congratulations, Stanton. We almost pulled it off. Frazier almost pulled it off back-to-back. Stanton's not even in the All-Star game tomorrow, but he was there representing the NL. So good on him. It was great, some great exposure for him. But we're going to run right into some sports picks right now because it's not a big sports day, but we got some UEFA Champions League qualifying going on. Some of the matches have already kicked off. Some are kicking off around 1:30. We're going to try and spit this down as quick as possible. Get it done with. So we're already kicked off. We got Zrinski Mostar. They're hosting Legia Warsaw. I don't want to spend too much time breaking it down because it's already kicked off. They're already in the 43rd minute, basically. Sitting at 0-0 right now. Now, I got Mostar at plus 260 to win. Team from Bosnia-Herzegovina. They've been on some good form. Legia Warsaw, not so much. They lost the Polish Super Cup to Lech Poznan in their last match out, 4-1. So it's not a very good position to be in. They did have some players participating in Euro 2016, so they're going to be a little light to start the season here. Like I said, the team from Bosnia-Herzegovina, they've been on a, 5-match win streak. 2 of those, though, have been played for friendlies this year. 3 date back to last year, but nonetheless, they're on some pretty good form. So hopefully they can pull off the upset. They're the underdog. I think the draw is also heavily in play, and I did like the under, but the under was just too much juice. Other game that's already kicked off right now, FK Quarberg from Azerbaijan. They're hosting F91 Dundelange from Luxembourg, tiny country in Europe. I say good luck in Azerbaijan at this time of the year, right at the beginning of the season, having to travel to the Far East of Europe. Quarberg definitely going to have the edge. You know, last game out, they lost 1-0 to Zenit. That's not a bad showing. Sorry, they beat Zenit 1-0. It's a pretty good showing for them in a friendly match. I know Zenit probably wasn't playing their top players. Obviously, they just lost Hulk to China. But nonetheless, that's a boost in confidence for Quarberg. Now, I went down to the Asian alternative line. I jumped on Quarberg at -2. I wasn't too confident with getting 3 goals out of this match, but I think Quarberg can get at least 2. And if they do pull off 3, we'll cash it. 2 will have a push. I don't think the team from Luxembourg is going to be able to put the ball in the back of the net. Now we got a couple parlays in the Champions League qualifying to kind of wrap this up, round it up. We got the Lincoln Red Imps from Gibraltar. They're hosting Celtic from the Scottish Premier League. Celtic's got Brendan Rodgers as their new manager. Still have a pretty solid midfield with Brown and Stefan Johansson. They got Lee Griffin up front. Picked up Dembele from Hull City. I always get the 2 Dembeles or whatever. The one from Tottenham, the one from Hull City, whatever. I always get them all kind of mixed up. But they picked up the lad from Hull City, the midfielder, that fired Hull City into the Premier League. They still got the former Man City young striker. So they got some talent still, Celtic. Still got some talent. Brendan Rodgers is going to want to prove his worth. I think the player's going to want to prove his worth for Brendan Rodgers. I see a good showing for them. I think we're going to see some goals in this game. I think Celtic alone can get us at least 3 goals. So I think the over is heavily in play. As it stands right now, Celtic are minus 1,000 to win. You know, who cares? The draw is plus 800. Let's move into the total. Total's 2.5. Over is at minus 188. Under's at plus 140. We've seen some drastic movement in this match. I got the over at minus 200. So we're starting to see some movement towards the under. I don't think so. Do I think the Red Imps can score? No, but I think Celtic will put on a nice performance nonetheless. Now, I got the over 2.5 in that game, and I got it parlayed with the under 2.5. I like the under 2.5 in the Vardar Dinamo Zagreb match. Team from Vardar plays their football out of Macedonia. Dinamo Zagreb, a little bit more familiar with football fans. They play out of Croatia. Pretty good youth system, pretty good production line. They've produced a lot of good Croatian football players over the years. And plenty more to come. One of the powerhouses down there in the Baltics. One of the powerhouses down in Croatia. Been on a pretty good run. Haven't lost in their last 7 matches. They've played 3 friendly games. 2 draws and a win. Vardar, they played 3 friendly games to warm up for this, really. Split right down the middle. 1-1-1. As this game stands, minus 110 to Dinamo Zagreb. Plus 240 for the draw. Plus 300 for Vardar. Total in this game is 2.5. I like the under, minus 175. So I got the over 2.5 in the Celtic match. Parlayed with the under 2.5. Minus 175 in the Dinamo Zagreb match. Got one more parlay here for you. In the UEFA Champions League qualifying. We got Valletta. Team from Malta. Tiny island in the Mediterranean. Taking on Red Star Belgrade from Serbia. Much like Dinamo Zagreb. Red Star. Nice production line of Serbian football players. One of the powerhouses out of the Baltics down there. I don't know, you know when I talk about the Baltic, we talk about Croatia, Serbia, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Montenegro. You know, they're one of the big boys down in that area. Now, that being said, I think the team from Malta, Valletta, is going to frustrate them. You know, kind of piss them off a little bit. It is UEFA Champions League qualifying. So I got the under 3.5 in that match. And I'm going to parlay it up with FC Salzburg at minus 2. So FC Salzburg, they're hosting a team from Latvia, FK Lepaja. Hopefully I'm saying that name right. Hopefully I'm not Latvian. Lepaja. But anyways, FC Salzburg from Austria. Pretty good quality football team as well. Yeah, Red Bull Salzburg. They've had a pretty good I'm talking about productions line now. Seydou Mane. He came from Red Bull Salzburg. Who was their other youngster they got picked up? He's about 22, 23. Went to the Bundesliga. A couple Premier League teams are looking at him. His name will pop up into my mind. Trust me. He's a right midfielder. He can play in the middle. More of a midfielder, not quite your true winger, but he's a midfielder, right midfielder. It'll come to my mind. But anyways, they played 3 qualifying games. They've won them all in convincing fashion. Red Bull Salzburg has 4-1 over Wurzburg, 3-1 over Young Boys of Bern, and the Salzburg beat Slavia Prague 2-1. So I look for them to pop some goals in over the team from Latvia, Lepaja. So I got FC Salzburg at minus 2 on the Asian alternative handicap line. Parlayed with the under 3.5 in the Valletta Red Star Belgrade game. Also on the Asian handicap line. Before I go to the MLB Diamond, I'll recap those. So I'm riding Mostar. Team from Bosnia-Herzegovina. They're already at halftime, 0-0. I got them at plus 260 to beat Legia Warsaw. I got Quaraberg from Azerbaijan. Minus 2 on the Asian alternative line to beat F91 Dundelange. They're up up 1-0 in the 22nd minute as we speak. Parlay. Over 2.5 in the Lincoln Red Imps Celtic match. Parlayed with the under 2.5 in the Vardar Dinamo Zagreb match. And I got the under 3.5 in the Valletta Red Star Belgrade match on the Asian alternative line. Parlayed with FC Salzburg at -2 on the Asian alternative line. Now let's focus on some baseball. The All-Star game takes place. My gut instinct right off the hop was the American League. Before I even went and looked at some stats, it was the American League. I just think they have a better feel in the clubhouse for them. We've seen a lot of National League pitchers drop out. We're hearing about Jake Arrieta and might not be able to pitch. He hasn't pitched too well in his last 4 or 5 outings. Some people say he might be sour because he's not the fucking starter. Johnny Cueto's the starter, which I think is a problem as well, because I think Johnny Cueto's going to be pretty fucking loose compared to Chris Sale, because Chris Sale wants to win the fucking Cy Young Award. Chris Sale wants a good performance. I think we're going to get a great performance out of Chris Sale for about 2 or 3 innings. So as it stands right now, the American League's at -105 on the money line. National League's -115, basically a pick'em. Total in this game is 7.5 runs. I don't really have a good feel to the over-under in this game, but I have a great feel to the American League. Big Poppy's on it. I think the players are going to want to pull for Big Poppy in his final season to win the All-Star game. American League have won the last 3 All-Star games. Now the National League won the last 3 before that. Very streaky. I think we can get it to 4-0. I like the American League lineup better with the Boston Red Sox lineups. I don't like the All-Chicago infield. I think they're going to be pretty loose. Be good for defense, but nah. I like the American League lineup better. So I'm going to take the American League at -105 to win the All-Star game. I'm going to have a podcast coming out later. We're going to talk about Mossport Raceway or Mossport Racetrack and my time there over the weekend. Got some stories from that. Got some footage from the cars. Have some fun with it. I had a great time down there. Fucking had a lot of rain one night, but hey, it is what it is. Talk a little bit about the issues going down in Dallas, Louisiana, Minnesota. I was watching the protests in Atlanta last night with the cops and the Black Lives Matters. I got some thoughts on that. Talk a little bit of baseball and some fantasy baseball since it's the All-Star break. And maybe a little CFL fantasy as well if I could squeak it in. But remember, you can check my workout at KJ_the_block. Find my work on Twitter. At KJ_the_block. Find my work on my blog site, kylejohnstontheblock.wordpress.com. And remember, if you're not laying the money down on the table, you're not winning.